Hey, everybody, it's Mike. This is not the part of the show where I ask you to support the show on Patreon because I understand that nobody has any money and nobody has a job right now. And it's tough, and we're all unsubscribing from everybody's Patreon. This is the part of the show where I say thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the free episodes and following me on social media. And I'm not telling you to go support the Patreon where it's $5 a month for a show every single day. I'm not doing that. I'm saying thank you for listening, and let's start the show. All right, honey, don't bother me. I'm podcasting with another woman. So please leave me alone. Please, if you could leave the house, that'd be great. This is my time. This is my time to create content with Emmy Blotnick. Anyway, good day, everyone. Good day. I guess good evening. That's when the episodes come out. Anyway, I'm Mike Racine. Welcome to another episode of The Sit Down. This month we're back to the rotating guest host model. We did that, as you remember, with Tom Takar. If anyone's still listening to the show, we did that with Tom Takar a couple months ago. And it's nice. I think it's a good model. I pick a guest co-host, and then we just we're able to sort of, establish a little dynamic for a little bit. So my guest co-host for the next 4 episodes is somebody who one of my oldest friends in comedy, somebody who I think is probably, I would say if I made a TV show, I think you would be on my dream team of writers. Very good. Very good writer. It would be you. It would be Anthony Cumia. It would be. I'm trying to think of who else. Maybe just you and Anthony Cumia.
That would be that sounds like hell. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. No, I think it would be.
I actually don't know Anthony Cumia. I feel like I only knew about him when he was didn't he walk the streets yelling something homophobic? There was something that happened with him. That's all I really know.
Yeah, well, he got fired from Opie and Anthony because he got in a fight with a lady on the street. Because he was walking around. He was walking around. I mean, talk about a fall from, because Opie and Anthony was the most popular radio show in the world, and I mean, he is also a very funny broadcaster. But he was walking in the streets, and then he was taking pictures, and he was in Times Square at 4 a.m. or something, and he was taking pictures, and I guess some lady thought that he was taking a picture of her, so she confronted him, and then they got into a fight, and she hit him, and then. But he's also she was a black woman. He's already already racist,
Yeah, that doesn't help, I guess.
Yeah. So you'd think he could have left it at that, but then he opens up Twitter and just starts tweeting about how some fucking some lady just assaulted him on the street, and then he said a few things that got him that are inappropriate.
Oh man! Well, looking forward to working with him on the Mike Racine show.
Yep.
I feel safe already.
I just go out to. I'm like, are you guys getting along? Are you guys having fun in here? No, but really, I'm excited to have Emmy as the co-host of the show, because really, I think one of the best writers. I mean, I don't see her anymore. I don't see her work anymore. But there was a time. Let me tell you what. 2010 to 2013. She had a nice little run.
Man.
But you're still writing. You're writing for. You got a job right now? You employed?
Yeah, thankfully, I am. I'm working on Sam Jay's HBO show, which is super fun.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like it's a miracle that we can still do anything right now. I'm it's all Zoom, and that's its own sort of I feel like it
so you're
takes
not going to work every day or anything.
No, we're hopping on the Zoom, and we're all seeing each other's homes, and that's always fun with comedians to see how we all live.
How they live, yeah. That is fun because it's such a wide spectrum of how comedians live,
Yes, and I found that with doing Zoom shows too when this all first started, that it's so different to hear somebody like in a nice or in like a proper comedy club with like a stage and cool lights and drinks and
Yeah.
there's like a mood
Yeah.
versus somebody sitting in front of their twin bed being like, so shit's not going so good, and we're like, yeah, we can see.
You could just see their roommates walking around.
There's like a tarp hiding all their garbage in their room.
They have a roommate doing another show, and
yes, dueling podcasts, dueling Zoom shows. No, I think I don't know. It's
sorry, I'm getting a text message. Are you
you're
still
podcasting?
Go ahead.
You're a soon-to-be father.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going down?
I know. I mean, I'm like pretty depressed, but I think I am doing. Because I realized the other night I have, I get the Patreon. See, not to like beat myself up, but I always kind of thought that maybe I would be one of those people who's like writing for, who's like writing for shows all the time. Because I'm a good writer. I'm a better writer. I've always been a better writer than performer for sure. And there's people who just kind of like rotate and they're always on shows. And I don't know what it was, but I must have like said something. I must have said something misogynistic that got me blacklisted from writers. I also don't, you know what I mean? Anyway, I always thought I'd be one of those people, but now I'm a fucking like 33-year-old podcaster and content creator. I just wish I could retrace my steps.
I could help you somewhat. I mean, this is maybe a confrontational note to begin our run of podcasts on, but I believe you told me when I got my first writing job that you should have gotten it. So.
No, I didn't. Did I?
I think so.
Really?
I don't know why I'm digging this up right now,
yeah.
but I have some memory. It was when Nikki Glaser and Sarah Schaefer got their show, and I believe you were like, you only got that job because you're a woman.
Oh. Did you think I meant that, or do you think I was like being funny?
I still am not sure.
But you remember
our friendship has endured, so I think it's like, I don't know. I've been feeling lately like people are allowed to grow and evolve past their bad opinions.
Right.
I don't know if that means I want to work with Anthony, but
right.
but maybe he's a better guy now. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm no stranger to having a lot of bad opinions when I was in my 20s, but I did. Right, but they haven't, and I know that I know that a lot of them are bad opinions, but they haven't really come back to me yet, and I feel like someday they will, because they haven't yet. So I feel like someday, I'm way overdue. Not that anything, but I feel like I'm kind of overdue for people digging up a lot of stuff, digging up old podcast appearances and stuff like that. And
I feel that same anxiety, and I know I haven't. Like, I don't think I've done anything like scandalous, but I like
just hang out with me, just be friends with me.
But every comedian I know now is paranoid about this.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I don't know. We're all like, oh, I once grabbed a woman's butt in a bar. Do you think she's gonna out me?
Yeah.
It's not a good way to live, but I mean,
no,
the world is small and weird right now.
It's small and weird, and the other weird thing too is that comedians are so like disposable. So if anybody is any kind of liability, you can just get rid of them.
I guess that's true. Yeah, this is not the most forgiving profession.
Like people graduate from Harvard and NYU every year. Lots of people who all want to be comedy writers, and they're younger, and their pussies are tighter. And their dicks get hard, They're just like beautiful kids with nice skin and smooth dicks, and
you're like, how am I gonna get on SNL with this soft old
sprinkled dick? Yeah, that's part of the audition
you can impress
process.
Lorne?
Because it was always funny when you watch SNL. Now the whole cast is kind of old, but like they would have like a random old guy on the show. They would be like younger people, and then like Colin Quinn, who was, I don't know, probably in his 40s. So it's weird to be in an industry where you shouldn't, because you get better. I mean, I like to think that I get funnier every year that I do this. Hopefully, knock on wood, but. You also get less desirable to the industry every year. Every gray pube, every wrinkle in your face. You're
I
like,
think
fuck.
that's true.
And then,
But
yeah.
it sucks because it's like old people are the funniest. Like
Yeah, of course.
an older comedians, like even if their opinions are shitty, like tend to just be the raw funniest. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I think our industry is miscalculates that stuff all the time and then uplifts like a 21-year-old guy who got
Yeah.
famous for like, stabbing his dick on a picket fence or something.
Right, right, right.
And you're like, this isn't the
Right.
same as like developing a craft.
I mean, literally, the next step is like dogs getting writing jobs on TV shows, like puppies. You know?
See, I would be happy to work with puppies. I
Mm-hmm.
feel,
Okay,
I don't
it's
know.
fine. We'll replace Anthony Cumia on my TV show with a dog.
Yeah, I feel like I really love I'm one of these irritating white women that loves pit bull puppies but not grown pit bulls. And
Yeah,
I
that's.
feel
Oh, really? Yeah.
well, it's not that I don't like grown pit bulls,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I haven't had a deep bonding experience with
Okay.
one, so I tend to just be like, oh, please don't eat me, meat dog.
Well,
But
it's tough. Yeah, it's tough because they're so big and they're jacked. You know.
yes.
Um.
And maybe I project my experiences with muscular men onto those dogs. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
what it is.
Uh huh. Not. I
Like,
guess not good experiences.
I don't know. I'm just sort of like apprehensive. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
if it's a smaller dog, I will smother it. So
Yeah. I
I don't know.
I know what you mean. I mean, it is kind of scary. Deb and I just moved to Carroll Gardens, so we don't have the experience of like a pit bull coming to the dog park anymore. And you're just like, you don't want to be, bigoted and be like, oh no, it's a pit bull. But you do kind of like keep your eye on it just to make sure, because because you're like, this thing could kill my dog.
Absolutely. Like I didn't know you guys moved. Carroll Gardens. I bet the dog parks are like all
Oh,
gourmet
there's
dogs.
no rescues, and the dogs are like really delicate, and it's
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they're a little less high energy than our dog is because he's used to like more rough and tumble dogs. So it's yeah.
Mm. It's weird. And I'm in Greenpoint, and if I head into Williamsburg, it's all really fancy dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other end of Greenpoint, over by like McGolrick Park and
Uh-huh.
stuff, sometimes there will just be like German Shepherds and Dobermans that still have their balls, that
Yeah,
have like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
chain collars
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
drooling like
Yeah.
half a gallon of like their
Right.
drool looks like melted cheese.
Just
Like it's
right, right. And you don't want to call
and
the
I'm like,
cops on them because that's going to be you'll end up like you'll go viral for calling the cops
yes.
on a Doberman.
Of course, and it's also like they need to run more than anybody probably, and like they're entitled to their dog park. But
Of
yeah,
course.
do I think they could make a fucking sausage out of my dog?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, you know what you do when if that God forbid if that happens, if one of them attacks your dog, you go for the butthole. You put your finger in their butthole and they release it, or you grab the legs and you
Wait,
move
the
it up.
owner or the dog?
The owner, yeah. You pull down the owner's pants. You go,
yeah.
The guy with the neck tattoo who has the pit bull. Yeah, you get Nick to do it. You get your fiance to do it. You want to pull his pants down and then put your finger in his butt, and then that will make his dog release. Because then you're showing dominance. It's all about showing dominance with these dog owners.
It's funny because the ones in that part of Greenpoint are usually like older Polish men, and they're scary to me. Like they're like drunk and terrifying.
Well, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and they don't. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but like I have encountered multiple like dog and owner combinations that fit this profile where the dog is not really trained at all, and it's like, you can't just have this giant murder machine out in the streets and it doesn't listen to you.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I know. You just gotta hope for the best and not be. I mean, it's been. I feel like it's pretty rare that a dog has killed another dog. Although in Greenpoint, there's all those posters that say this dog is dangerous.
Yes.
You've seen those?
Yeah, it's a cane corso, and I think it's not trained. And I think maybe that whole thing, because this is one of the things since the pandemic started. Now I read neighborhood blogs. Now I'm like, what's like? I want to know local crimes. I want to know business closures and openings and shit like that.
That's
and
not
so
that's smart. Yeah.
I guess I don't know. The world is. I just don't go anywhere anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I feel like that Cane Corso story was like major news in my world.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because
And
when you
I
go to
think,
Greenpoint, there's a bunch of and the signs are laminated too, and it says there's a picture of a dog, a cane corso, and it says this dog's dangerous. It killed a dog on March 22nd, 2018 or whatever. Like, be aware of this dog. And and you can see like you can tell there's been 2 rounds of the poster because it's in different colors. So someone has done it again, laminated all the. But I mean that's probably the least thing I would do if somebody. Anyway, I don't want to think about
hey,
that.
if
But
I get killed by a dog, will you laminate posters on my
absolutely,
behalf to
absolutely.
avenge my death via laminated poster?
I would probably, yeah, I absolutely would. This woman, what would the poster say though?
To be like, this dog ate this Jewish woman.
It's just
She was
it's just a side
delicious.
it's just a side by side of you and the dog is smiling, like
Yeah.
like
Yep.
I couldn't find a picture of the dog looking mean. It's just like got a big smile on his face.
This cute dog
Yeah.
did us all a favor. And
And then the
oh,
picture of you just looks like you're upset, like you're annoying.
most pictures of me, I look upset, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be easy. I feel
Yeah.
like I look frazzled and upset a lot
Y-
around cameras.
Yeah, you're just frowning.
And that's why my second life as an influencer is probably not ever gonna happen. I don't
Right.
enjoy. Can you can you imagine if taking pictures of yourself was like just part of your day's work? I have
Can I
been
just say
thinking
one more
about
thing?
these.
Can I just say one more
Yeah, of
thing about pit bulls?
course.
Because I got some feedback on the show. My brother thinks that the show is a little too. He's like, I think you have ADD, and I'm not
Ooh.
taking medication. I don't do what people tell me to do. But I just want to say one more thing about pit bulls, and it's that I have 2 friends with pit bulls. Amy Shanker has a pit bull, and Adam Friedland has a pit bull, and they're both very, very sweet dogs. And it's cool because they're so muscular. Like when it jumps on you and you grab it and you grab the muscle, you're like, oh, you
Uh-huh.
can like protect. You'll protect me if anything
Oh.
bad happens. They're very. So I think you just got to get over some of that.
I know. I feel like I just need to spend time with
Spend
one
time with
because
one. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like that is the downside of like my dog is like 30 pounds
Yeah.
and he'll like fucking he's nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
not gonna protect me.
Yeah.
He's like his main line of questioning is usually like, is that food? And like,
Yeah.
can I go home with you? I
Right.
think he would leave with someone else at the dog park in a heartbeat.
Right.
So
Right.
whereas that pit bull, I don't know. They've got to be grateful to some degree too, because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Well, if that pit bull ever attacks your dog, you go right for the asshole.
that's
That's my little tip. I think that's what you're supposed to. I mean, that's what I've heard. You put your finger in their butt, and it confuses them, and they release their jaw. Because it's hard to get them to release their jaws if they don't want to.
yeah.
Because Frankie got a
Well,
ball the other day, and usually he'll let me, if he's got a ball or a stick, he lets me take it out of his mouth. But he wouldn't let it go, and he's just like he's growling, and yeah. So I just put my dick in his ass.
and did it work?
Um, well, my penis was soft.
Oh
But
God,
yeah, he let
you're
it.
never gonna get to be on SNL like
I
this.
know, I know.
What kind of audition set is that?
I fucking hate kids. Being our age in comedy, it's like being in the movie Space Cowboys, with Clint Eastwood and James Garner and
Oh, I
Donald
haven't seen
Sutherland.
that movie. I'm a terrible guest.
That's all right.
But how is it like this movie?
Because it's about these old guys that like go back to space. Like it's all these former astronauts, and they like go back to space one last time. It was James Garner, Donald Sutherland, Clint Eastwood, and I forget who the fourth guy. Tommy Lee Jones, I think. I might rewatch that
Ooh,
movie.
that's a strong cast. I'll
Yeah,
take a note. I'm
yeah,
down to
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Check it out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We could talk about movies later in the show, but you just mentioned being an influencer and taking pictures of yourself. I think I know what you're going to say, but what were you going to say before?
I'm exhausted by all of this and feel very lost in life. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
does
Same.
that do it?
Same. Yes, absolutely.
Do
I don't
you think stand up is going to come back in its like this is my I have been feeling like kind of gloomy about
yeah.
the prospects of stand-up's return, and I think that is
Mhm.
why I feel so judgmental about like people posing with products and being like, take these fucking hair gummies and all that
Yeah.
shit. Like, what do you think is gonna happen to our art form?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like originally I was like, "Oh, okay, this is going to be, this will be over eventually." And then when it comes back, people are going to want to be out of the house so much that every show is going to be packed and there's going to be shows all the time because people are dying to get out. But now I think that it's just something. Well, first of all, it's been going on for almost a year. So it's something that everybody's kind of used to now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if people are going to remember what stand-up comedy is if it comes back.
Interesting. I think like so I've been thinking that it feels like shit is still too messy for it to come back this year. That's
Hmm.
been my I've kind
Yeah.
of resigned myself to like 2021 is
Yeah.
not the grand return of the theater or the comedy club. But
Right.
it's possible that after that people will maybe realize that like I don't know. The feeling of a live show is so much better and different and
Hmm.
like more exciting than watching somebody like stream shit from their bedroom. I don't know.
Absolutely. And that's how I've always felt. I've always felt like about stand-up that people will always crave the social aspect of it. They're always going to want to like go out. It's just fun to be around
Mm-hmm.
other people and go to a comedy show. It's like the different thing that you do, maybe with your wife, or like it's a really good, first or second date. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's always something that people want to do. I mean, there's too much of it for how many people want to do it, but if you can find a way, if you can be the top, 0.1% of stand-ups, it's a pretty nice life.
So we'll just do that and that's it.
Yeah, but we're old.
Uh, we
But
are
then,
old.
but then I also feel like, okay, like live stand-up's not coming back for a little while. I guess I could do these Zoom shows, but then I could also, because I'm kind of feeling like I need to do something creative,
Mm-hmm.
I also could, because my wife's pregnant and she's pretty far along. April 30th is the due date. I could just maybe get a lobotomy and just be like a stay-at-home dad, because I could. I'm doing that right now, and I'm very resentful about. Not very resentful, but I understand my mother, why she was always pissed off, because it's like, it's just the constant. There's like the constant need for all these little tedious tasks that you have to do all the time.
With being pregnant, you mean?
With like taking care of a household.
Oh,
You
yes,
know?
yes. Housework is such a bigger part of my life than it ever was before. And
Yeah,
now I'm like, I get upset when like my sink doesn't drain properly. And
yeah,
that didn't used to even register. I feel
yeah,
like I didn't give a fuck about my sink.
yeah,
But anyway.
yeah. I
And
know.
it's also, if you're in your house all the time, then you have to clean it constantly.
You have to
Like
clean it.
when you're
Yeah.
not here, everything's fine.
It was great, just being out all the time and then coming back to a filthy shithole and just going to sleep. You're like, I
Those
don't
were
care.
the
I don't
fucking
fucking. Those were
days.
the days. You're like, I don't spend any time here. I just sleep.
Yeah, it used to just be a storage unit with a bed in
A
it.
storage
And
unit with a
now
bed
it's
in it.
like, I gotta make sure all the plants are watered because if there's a dead plant in
Yeah,
here, I'm looking at it all day and then I feel
yeah,
like it's a reflection of who I am. And
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. The
But
first time I brought Deb back to my place, I had a guy living in my hallway, and I told her that he was a house guest.
what do you mean living in your
Well, we had like
hallway?
a little railroad apartment, so there was like a room at the end of the place, and then there was like a hall. I mean, it was technically a room. You could fit a twin bed and a dresser in there, but it was like a small room that he paid like I had to walk through his room to get to my room,
Wow.
so it was one of
Was
those. It
he a
was like,
comic?
no, he was just like a guy, but he was like a nice guy.
Where was he from Craigslist?
No, he was my brother's friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I paid.
375
He
for
paid.
a room that anybody that you can just walk through whatever is that's a I want to say that's like a fair price.
Yeah, I think so. My room was $450. I
Okay,
had the
okay,
little.
then he's getting ripped off.
I don't care. My name's on the lease. I mean, yeah, I guess. Whatever. But nobody. But that's like unheard of rent in the city.
Yeah, no, that's like
Nobody.
1970s rent now, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, you get a 4-bedroom apartment for that price.
Yeah, that's tune into Fran Lebowitz's show to find out more about how much better things were in the 1970s.
Is that her show?
It's some of it. I really
Yeah.
like her show, but I
Okay.
feel like, sorry to be like ADD on your brother
No,
here,
that's
but
okay. Yeah, but my brother can suck me off.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I also have ADHD, so we're
Yeah.
not going to be able to stay on one topic for too long, nor should
No, but I
podcast
think it's
listeners want that. We're not
exactly,
experts.
exactly.
But
We're
Fran
just
Lebowitz's
trying to follow
show.
the funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really love that show and I love her. And I feel
Mhm.
like there's been this thing in the last week or two of people shitting on her on the internet because they're
Uh-huh.
jealous.
Uh-huh.
And it's making me a little crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you
Being
mean.
like, what's so special about this woman? She just sits and complains. And it's like, you are so fucking jealous. You want to
Yeah.
sit and complain.
Right.
You want Martin Scorsese to film you having a coffee. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
always men who shit on her.
Mhm.
I'm just like ready to defend.
Okay.
So.
I wish I watched the show because I could have. But yeah, it's like you wish there was a 9-part documentary series of you just tweeting at people. You tweeting at Chrissy Teigen, telling her that she's a whore or whatever you do.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say shit. Yeah, I think like there was a piece in the New York Times. It was like kind of a like slightly older writer being like, "What's so special about Fran?" And I don't know. Maybe just everybody wants attention and wants to be listened to.
I wish I knew more about her, but she's a photographer or a writer.
Annie Leibovitz is the photographer. Fran
Yeah.
is like an old Jewish. She's who I kind of hope to be as an old woman.
Okay.
But I feel like, yeah, watch the show. We'll talk about it next time.
Okay. Who do you think I'm going to be as an old man?
This is a good question.
Yeah.
I feel it's interesting. I don't have like a specific person ready to roll, but I have an essence in mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think I hope you'll still be doing comedy, but I feel like you'll be like yelling at pigeons for sitting on your like you'll have pigeon spikes on your house.
It's just sad to be okay. Fair. That I build myself though. It's just sad to be the old guy who's not in comedy who's like not established, you know? Like Joe Rogan is 50, but he's established. But who is like old and they're not famous? It's like that seems tough to me to be old in comedy and not famous, even if you're like the funniest guy.
I think okay. My feeling
I think
is
Rich Voss
like,
is like established enough to I don't know. It seems like he's in a good spot. But I don't know.
But I do think like for me, I had some moment in the past like couple of years where I was like, I feel like I'm not gonna be like a like famous established person, but I like have my community of people who I respect, who I feel like basically respect me, and that kind of filled the void enough where I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna like kill myself. I like have a group of people that I feel good around.
Right.
And that might be the way like some older non-famous comics get by. It's like you've got your people.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like naming names would be cruel, but there are plenty of dudes in the orbit of the cellar who I feel like didn't like break through, but they do good every time they get up and people like them. So.
Yeah, I think as long as you can make a living, I mean, that's good. I just know, do these guys make a living? Yeah, I guess they do. I just don't know.
It's not the nicest living. Like I feel it's right. You still gotta squish into a like middle seat and fly to Kansas City
right. You have 3 roommates that have smooth dicks and they're all auditioning for SNL. and they help you set up your podcast equipment because you don't know. when there's
Yes.
yeah.
Oh man.
Um,
But yeah, I think you'll be fine. You're gonna have a fucking at least one child.
right, right.
That's like already I feel a life achievement.
Thanks. I'll probably just make content with him or something when he's old enough. I'll stage viral videos. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. Ones where it's like you take away his candy and call him a pussy, and then
Yeah.
everyone's like, "That's amazing."
Yeah. I saw a video recently. There's a guy who has twin daughters, and can't tell which is the daughter. He's like talking to the wrong daughter, and then the other daughter comes over. She's probably like 2 years old, and she's like, "No, no, daddy," and she points at the other. She tells the dad her name, and the guy's like, "Oh, that one's Charlie, and who are you?" And she's like, "Harper," and it's really cute. I'll send it to you, but I think that it could have been staged. I wouldn't be surprised if it was staged.
Yeah, that's a very it's a cynical world because like
Yeah.
if you go viral, there's not really like it doesn't it seems rare that it actually translates to any sort of like financial gain or any sort of
Yes.
lasting like that's the thing about all of this shit, all of the social media shit is it doesn't last. Like
No.
you can get a bunch of like whatever likes on things and go viral for a minute and then
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, you gotta go back to the drawing board and pour spaghettios in a pie crust or whatever that thing was you sent me.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to explain this.
Okay. I was gonna play it. I was gonna play the clip on the show, but then I realized I only have one cord. I only have one auxiliary cord. But
Donate to Mike's Patreon so you can have two auxiliary cords and
no,
you can hear a woman dump spaghettios
actually
into a pie crust.
I have multiple auxiliary cords. You know what I don't have is those dongles, those connectors that connect the lightning to the auxiliary cable. You know, the lightning to auxiliary. I don't have those. And yeah, so that's a pain. But anyway, wait. So, but before we talk about the video, it is funny when someone goes viral and they're like, they go because people go viral for nothing, for literally nothing. People will go viral for being like, can we acknowledge just how great potatoes are? And it's and then the first comment is like, also, if you guys could donate to my mom's GoFundMe, she's very sick, and so. Yeah, I'm spending too much time. I think I'm spending too much time on Twitter where nobody is, and I got to be on TikTok where everybody is. I think I gotta make that jump.
I haven't made that jump. I feel like yes, people I know who look at TikTok are like it's so much more positive or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my heart is too wounded from
right from social media. Because Twitter's because I remember like 7 years ago, my agent and manager telling me that I should be tweeting, I should be on Twitter more. I missed every like social media window because I was pretty active on Facebook. I was writing stuff, and then they were like, "You should be on Twitter." This was back in like 2012, right after I did Montreal. They're like, "You should be on Twitter. You should be tweeting at people. You should be tagging people, and like just get active on Twitter because once you get a big following, you can draw on Twitter." But I can't imagine anybody having a following on Twitter that gets them people to come to their live show. You know, it's just nothing. The Twitter followings are nothing.
I think I agree. I can't think of anybody who like I don't know. Yeah, it's fucking wild. I also am remembering that your Facebook posts were funny. That was
but I never went public with it. So I just it was always reserved to my like 300 friends. And then I got on Twitter like a couple years ago. But now Twitter feels like the mall no one goes to anymore.
I think so, yes.
You know?
I was remembering it was during the Kavanaugh hearings when you were like, Kelsey, or shit, her name is escaping me all of a sudden. It is Kelsey Ford something,
Christine?
right?
Christine Ford?
Christine Ford? I'm Googling. Christine Blasey Ford.
Blasey Ford, yeah.
Okay. Christine Blasey Ford, and you were like, she had to move to a new address to avoid all the death threats. Does this ring a bell for you at all?
That was Josh Gondelman, actually. You're confusing me with Josh Gondelman again, which happens a lot.
Oh man, no, it was.
The difference between me and Josh Gondelman is I don't have a bunch of fingers in my basement. a bunch of people's.
Fingers?
Yeah, like he's a serial killer. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're
no
so
one can
nice.
be that nice all the time. He
Yeah.
can't know where is the outlet for all his
Where's the
darkness.
rage? Yeah, where's the darkness?
Um, that is a good question. You should
Hmm.
have him on and ask.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find this post because I think I took a screenshot of it a long time ago, and this is not going to be fascinating listening. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a very nicely crafted piece of empathy toward Christine Blasey Ford because moving is so terrible. Imagine having to
Oh
move.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It sucks. Moving
It
someone
was
else
just,
is fine. You just pick up the shit and put it in the truck and empty it. But to go through all your fucking stuff. Oh yeah, I think because I was like, oh, she's like this age and she has 2 kids and imagine all the stuff. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. She was going through hell, and you were like, the worst part of this is that she has to move, and moving is so bad.
yeah.
Anyway, um, yeah, I feel like there's got to be some other way to do creative stuff and like express yourself that isn't terrible.
But isn't that the funny thing about the internet? Also, is like going viral. You get death. Like everybody gets death threats for going viral. Like, uh, like we. So I said. So let me bring up that spaghetti video that I sent you. So we watched. There's a. I've been thinking about this a lot. I've seen this. It's a video that I've seen. I've seen it on Twitter like twice, and it stayed in my head. And it's a woman. It's a young Midwestern mother, and she's making what looks like a SpaghettiOs pie for her family. And the funniest part of the video is, so she's got the video starts. She's got a frozen pie crust. And then she's got 1 can of SpaghettiOs already in the pie crust, and she's buttering bread, and she's buttering bread, which is presumably going to go on top of the SpaghettiOs pie that she's making, and then she goes, and then you're going to flatten it, and she starts pressing the bread down with her forearm. She starts pressing the bread with her, because when you cook, you wash your hands before you cook. That's like rule number 1. You start cooking, you wash your hands. Does this bitch wash her forearms?
I mean, it's like I got a massage from an Armenian man that used that technique and it
Uh-huh.
felt great, but I
Yeah.
don't use it on bread.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's
It's just that's the first part of the first turn in the video where you're like, what the fuck is this woman doing?
right, right. She's like unhinged.
And then it gets worse.
Now, let me ask you this though, because kids. I remember when I was a kid, my brother ate a lot of Chef Boyardee SpaghettiOs. I always thought it was just absolutely. I was just always disgusted by it. I can't. I could never stand Chef Boyardee. Did
I
you?
mean, my brother ate beefaroni like by the pallet. I
Uh
had the
huh.
same, like, I was never super into it, but my brother ate so much Chef Boyardee.
Uh huh.
Like, and he's doing fine, so it
Yeah.
can't be that awful for you, I guess. But
I
it
might
it
grab a
it
can.
never, it always kind of felt like prison-y to me, like a little like you shouldn't eat that unless you have to. I
Yeah.
would eat that in a doomsday scenario.
Right. Right. Yeah, I just wouldn't eat it. But then she butters the bread. She puts some garlic salt on the bread into the pie. She takes a little bit of. She takes a little bit. She puts shredded cheese into the spaghetti. She puts 2 cans of SpaghettiOs and meatballs into the pie. But what I do like about this video is she's at least putting the effort in for her kids. There's some parents that probably don't cook at all for their kids or would just heat up the can of SpaghettiOs and that's dinner. And it's like she's
Yeah.
making it's nice to see a little creativity, some creative choices with this SpaghettiOs pie. She puts milk in it, she puts shredded cheese in it. It's like I don't think she should be getting. She's probably getting. I think she's probably getting more hate than she should for this video.
I think the thing though is like it's not just that that's what she's making. It's that she feels like other people need the
Neat.
tutorial of how to make it, and
Yeah.
that's the part that's
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, we have departed into like some other world where
Right.
where
Right.
people need to know. They're like, well, how do I put SpaghettiOs in a pie crust? If only someone would show me.
they're just holding they're just holding the can of SpaghettiOs in the pie crust. They're just going insane.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Do I use my elbows? I guess like the the thing with spaghetti, I'm thinking about the taste of SpaghettiOs,
Yeah.
and I think my big issue with it is that it's so sweet,
Uh-huh.
and that's the thing that's gross about it. Is
Yeah.
like I don't know. I
It
haven't
tastes like
looked at like the
chemicals.
sugar. Yeah, it tastes like it's like sugary
Yeah.
and metallic
Yeah. Yeah,
tasting.
yeah, yeah.
Those aren't qualities you want in your pasta dish.
Yeah, my brother would just eat bowls of it. I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, I think like most of the meals in my house were microwaved for like a solid stretch
Okay.
of the 90s,
Okay.
and there were a lot of lean cuisines and a
Mhm.
lot of French bread pizzas
Okay.
and Stouffer's lasagna.
Stouffer's lasagna is really good.
Yeah, that shit holds up for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's also like the dignity of preheating the oven and like
Mhm.
it has to stay in the oven a long time.
Sure.
Like it definitely resembles food more closely than a can of pasta.
Yes. Somebody shared a video of the finished product, and it was just like the slices of buttered white bread on top of the pie. Like their bread was like burnt, and it was just kind of like
Oh
layered. And
no.
it's like, what do you do? Cut this into triangles? And I mean, I don't know.
Oh God. Those kids. I bet they're thrilled though.
Yeah.
I bet it's like, you know,
No, but
the
also
way
I wouldn't be
sometimes
surprised if that lady isn't getting like doxxed and sent death threats now. You know, from just from just angry Italians, angry like 14-year-old Italians being like, "How dare you? I'm coming to kill you, you fucking bitch."
Oh my God. I do feel like, you know, it's like in comedy, they feel like you roast the ones you love. I wonder if like death threats are like a sign of respect now. If like getting
Uh huh.
death threats just means like you've made it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one.
I don't think I've had a death threat. I've definitely had like hateful messages and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
not a full blown I'm gonna come kill you.
Right.
So that probably means that we haven't hit our creative peak yet.
Yeah. No. No. Exactly. We still have our best years are ahead of us. But I was gonna say this earlier. There is something weird about because I'm watching all these like front these so because I'm like, oh, I should make content, I should make video content or whatever. But like, I'm watching all these people make these front facing camera videos where they're putting the camera in their face and doing comedy. And I'm like, I don't want to do that because my face kind of looks like shit sometimes. You know, like I don't look that bad, but my skin is starting to. I'm entering. It sucks that you get old slowly because I'm starting to enter that. I'm starting to cross over and look like an old person. If I have the right lighting and some moisturizer on my face, it looks okay. But I don't want to put my
Yeah,
face. I don't want to put my face in shit. You know?
I'm with you. I feel like the stage gave us a nice,
Yes. Nice little glow.
comforting distance. Yeah,
Yes.
and nice lighting and all that shit.
Absolutely.
But I feel one topic we should tackle, if not today, another day,
Uh huh.
is your skincare routine. So,
Okay. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. Um, we could do that.
well, walk us through it. How do we get the microcene glow?
I just wash with a daily moisturizer, and I put face lotion on. That's it. I don't
I
have.
think that's pretty respectable.
Yeah. Do you ever do the foot masks?
I have. You mean like baby foot, the one that like peels your skin off?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You put like a wet bag on your feet and just
Yes.
chill. Then a couple days later, you can peel you peel all the skin off your feet.
That was like an early pandemic thing where I was like, we're fine, we're fine.
Yeah,
I've got two baby foots coming and we'll both do them and
right,
everything's going to be fine.
right, right, right.
And I'll tell
Right.
you, the wackiest thing that came out of that was like, so, you know, Nick, my fiance, does a lot of fucking like work and he's on his feet a lot. And
Uh-huh.
so for him, the baby foot peeled his off, and it looked like strips of dried mango. Like it was so
Hmm.
thick and
Hmm.
like, I mean, almost delicious
Mm-hmm.
looking. It was wild. Whereas
Hmm.
mine, I take a lot of baths, so my feet just peel. It looked like somebody put a lot of shredded coconut into my bath, and
Uh-huh.
that was horrifying.
Yeah.
Like not a cool exfoliating experience. I think both of us were like, this is not good, and we won't do this again.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I loved peeling the dead skin off my feet.
Uh-huh.
So now it's like your whole foot is just one big piece of dead skin. You peel it all off, and it's cool.
I bet, but I feel like, did Deb do it too?
Yeah, but I don't
She
think
probably had nothing to peel.
I don't
I
think she
feel
had
like
it.
a
Yeah,
lot of ladies just take care of their feet.
she probably. I think she does take care of her feet. Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, yeah,
She's
it's
not
a
on them
that's
hormones.
a fine hobby to take up in this, you know, horror of a moment we're in. To be
Yeah.
like, hey, why don't I start like buffing and, like, taking care of calluses and shit.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Do you have any other hobbies?
I've been getting into ASMR videos and K-pop, which is, I
Mm.
mean, it's another world of like, I'm mostly fascinated by how obsessed the fans are with. Oh my God. Okay, wait. I'm sorry. I'm having an ADD moment, but I think it's
Go
worth
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
This I've been meaning to tell you this, just because there's an ASMR artist, an ASMR performer, whatever they like to be
Mm-hmm.
called. She goes by Ting
And
Ting,
ASMR is
and
just like soothing videos, right? It's just noises for you to kind of like relax to, which sounds like a good idea. I might do that. I might check that out.
yeah, yeah. I think like, so a lot of, if it seems like the way people either like or hate cilantro, like ASMR either works for you or it doesn't. And
Okay.
it's like listening to certain sounds like nails tapping or like whispering close to a microphone, and the microphones are always like very sensitive ones
Mm-hmm.
that pick up, and you listen to it in your headphones, and
Mm-hmm.
I like, what's supposed to happen is like it gives you like a tingly feeling.
Uh-huh.
um and I discovered I basically can do it. And
Uh-huh.
this woman
Okay.
Ting Ting starts all her videos with, she goes, she's, I think
Emmy, are
she's
you sure that
Chinese.
woman's name is Ting Ting?
She goes by Ting Ting,
All
and
right.
she says "Welcome back"
Can
at
we
the beginning
confirm
of all
that?
her videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
All right.
she's Ting Ting ASMR
All
is
right.
her channel.
Okay.
Um, she starts all her videos with "Welcome back," but she's got a pretty thick accent, so it sounds like "Welcome back."
Uh-huh.
And in the comments, it's full of people writing, it's WERRCOME. Like they spell it out in that like racist way, but
Right.
they mean it in the most like affectionate and adoring way.
Right, because it's
And
how
I'm
she talks.
so fat. It's like all these people being like, "Oh my God, welcome back!" And it's so, I like, it's such an interesting community, because like in a normal circumstance you'd be like, hey, you're making fun of a woman for her accent, and that's
Right.
not okay, but
Right.
they all love her.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's how she. Yeah, I guess that one you just have to let it slide. I don't know.
It's, yeah, I think there's no policing it. It comes from a
Mm-hmm.
place of warmth, and like it's to the point where her Patreon, the first tier is the welcome back tier, because
Uh huh.
people always say welcome back to her. So anyway,
But they say but they
um
say with the R.
yes.
Yeah.
She's great. She's a good starting place if you're
Right.
if you're trying to get into it.
Right. Yeah. You can't.
Um,
Yeah. You can't. You can't. You can't do that, even if it is how they talk, because it's not. It's not. It's just not cool. But they're not mocking her. So that's the intent is not to mock her. So.
I think that she's just like those. They've found a loophole to like still make jokes about L's and R's.
Uh huh.
But yeah, do you give your Patreon subscribers any like,
Well, this is regular.
um
This is a regular episode.
racist fodder? Oh, good. Okay, cool.
No, but I do feel, yeah, I do feel a little more comfortable on the Patreon. I do. Well, so there's a guy named Brandon Straka who's like he started the I really didn't want to talk about politics today, but we're almost wrapped up, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. But there's a guy named Brandon Straka who started this. He started this thing called like the Walk Away movement, and his whole thing was like, I used to be a liberal, but now I'm a Trump supporter, and people just have to walk away from the Democratic Party. And apparently, like my Aunt Arlene is like kind of into him. Like she was telling my cousin about him. And he was just indicted for being at the Capitol riots, which is pretty funny. He's like a gay conservative. They all love gay people now that there's gay people who support Trump. So he was at the Capitol riots. So Deb and I were talking about last night on the Patreon if I saw my aunt at the Capitol riots, would I call the FBI on her?
Ooh.
And I was like, I don't think I would, because they're gonna find her either way. They don't need my help, but I probably would talk about it on Patreon. That would be a fun Patreon episode.
Yeah, that would be fun.
To be like, I saw my aunt like show her tits in Nancy Pelosi's office.
That is the crazy part, is that once they all got inside, they just did so much stupid shit, so much just sort of like wandering around and like selfies and stuff like that. That's bad strategy.
Yeah. Exactly. Here's a question for you. I had to start the episode a little late today because we have those dongles, those lightning converters for the iPhone. I had to get one to do the episode, and Deb had. We only have like two, and I guess Deb took one and put it in the car. So I was like, "Where's the dongle?" And she was like, "I'm coming back right now." So our street is actually closed off because we live across the street from a school, and the entire street is blocked off because during school days, because kids are playing out there and stuff like that. And so I was like, so she was like, "I'm coming home right now," and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna come downstairs and I'm gonna move the gate." They had these little like makeshift gates that block off the street. I was like, "I'm gonna come down and move the gate." So she pulls up next to the gate. I go to open the gate so she can get in. I open it like facing out towards the school. It wasn't in the street or anything. But then this lady comes over, doesn't say anything. She moves the gate back, but moves it on the inside of the street so it's not blocking the street. And then she like waves Deb in, but like motions with her hands for her to like be careful and go slow. Also, there's no kids on the street right now. They just shut it because I guess there's inclement weather. It's actually snowing right now, but she like motions with her hands for Deb to like be careful, and then like doesn't say anything to me. And I'm just like, this can't be how we raise our kids, My son, yeah. You can't protect your kids from cars if you're raising them in Brooklyn.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I guess it makes sense she'd be more cautious with a woman who is probably kind of visibly pregnant.
Well, she was driving, so it doesn't look like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mike, I misunderstood the story.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm not a very good communicator. I'm actually terrible at communicating.
Oh, boy.
But anyway, I hate that we live in this. I hate that my fucking street is blocked off because kids are playing, Yeah,
I guess, you can only shield them from the reality of cars for so long. I see where you're going.
And I just feel like I don't want my kid to be raised that way. Like I think that I should probably like, I don't know what, but maybe leave him in the woods one day a week to make sure he doesn't grow up like these kids.
And be like, find your way back, hitch a ride, and if you die, you shouldn't have been here. Yeah,
because those kids are going to grow up and be like, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from the part of Brooklyn where they block the street off so we can play.
I mean, I do fear, like, I really love living here, and I also fear raising a child here because, like, you don't want them to be, like, like, expecting oat milk all the time and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Oh. Man.
Well, he'll spend enough time with his grandparents in the suburbs that I think.
They'll keep him in line.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I think that I don't know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. What was I gonna say? Yeah, there's something about raising your kid raising your kid in Brooklyn, that you gotta like get him. You gotta expose him. This is what I was gonna say. He's gonna definitely like, he'll probably lose his virginity around 11, to some 40-year-old woman in the East Village. So he's gonna grow up very fast, I think, because how could he not? Like he's gonna smoke weed. He's gonna be smoking weed when he's like 10.
It's gonna be legal by the time he's 10.
I know.
And then will it still be cool? Probably.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So I'm hoping that he gets all of the like drugs out of his system by the time he's like 14, and then when he's 15, he just becomes like a young Republican. That's how he rebels.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think your dreams are all achievable.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It is going to be weird raising a city kid. Kurt Metzger had a joke about that. He's like, you ever meet these city kids, like they've done every drug by the time they're 14, but they can't drive or swim?
Yeah, I mean, you're friends with our friend Dan Perlman. He's a city boy who, he grew up in the city.
Wait, do you have a driver's license?
Mine expired during the pandemic, so it is. But I know how to drive, and I was like,
I can't picture you
driving
driving
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't picture me driving either.
Yeah.
Like the prospect of when I'm in a car, I can't become too aware of myself at all because it feels so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like I shouldn't, but I can and I do. Yeah. And there was one time Dan and I were driving to a gig, and I was like, do you want to drive for a little bit? And he was going like 40 miles an hour on a highway, drifting between lanes, and like truckers were doing the like big horn at him, and he was not even ruffled by it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, where did you come from that this is how you think? Like, why aren't you freaked out? Anyway, I think that's a city boy for you.
He's like, well, when I was 7 years old, I went to Chinatown and got kidnapped, so I'm not really afraid of anything.
Your Dan Perlman impression is pretty good.
I was shoved in a van, and they tried to sell my organs.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Well,
he's wise in other ways.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, thanks so much for being here and being a part of the special 4-part little, I don't know what you call it, little residency? Yeah, residency, right?
That's nice. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a resident.
Yeah, we'll get maybe like a guest next week, somebody that we're both friends with.
That sounds good.
Perlman could be a good guest, but we'll figure, if we want somebody who's more, more famous, we could do that. Just kidding.
It's whatever you want, bud. Yeah. I'll be there.
All right, cool. Do you want to plug anything?
You know what? I guess I have a stand-up album called Party Nights. That's probably the plug.
Cool.
And yeah.
It's a good album.
Hey, thanks.
I mean, it's a great album. You can't tell anyone. You can't tell anyone that their comedy is good or solid. It's not a compliment.
Right. It's like saying a comedian is nice.
Yeah, nice guy. Yeah.
But yeah, there's an album. You can enjoy that maybe.
Cool. Yeah, well, check out Emmy's album, and you guys know the drill. Patreon.com/sitdownpod, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram at Mike Racine, on Twitter at Racine Mike. Thank you guys for listening. I know that nobody has a job right now, and I hope these episodes are, I don't know, doing something for you. I hope we can make you laugh. I don't care if we do either way. It's incidental. If you laugh during the show, I don't care if you laugh or don't laugh. Just kidding. Thanks for being here, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.